Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Just a super short intro this time around. I know I always say that, but yeah, that really is the case this time around. Basically, what I want to do is give one last final reminder about our attendance at Dragon Meet 2024. On the release date of this episode, we are just over a week away from the convention. So those of you who are in the UK or are planning on traveling to Dragon Meet, I guess maybe from outside of the UK, just a quick heads up that, yeah, once again, we're going to be there as part of the podcast zone. We are going to be on the mezzanine level in our usual spot. So yeah, come and say hi. For those who are not sure what Dragon Meet is, maybe this is the first time you're hearing me talk about it. Dragon Meet is one of the UK's premier tabletop RPG and related gaming conventions, and it is taking place in the Novotel London West in Hammersmith in London. I'll say at the time of release next weekend on Saturday the 30th of November 2024. So yeah, once again, looking forward so much to seeing a bunch of you there, and yeah, it's going to be a great day. So yeah, come along, say hi. We've got some flyers and stuff. I'm going to be bringing along some Frontier postcards. We've had them previous years, but I've just got a whole new batch printed up. So yeah, come along, get some memorabilia. I got stickers. Who doesn't like stickers? Nobody. That's who. Come and get a sticker. Anyway, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to seeing you all there, and yeah, it should be a great day. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for this little intro here. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get into today's episode. Episode 135, Remnants Part 4. Enjoy. We open with Murphy's away team, trudging up the mountainside following an elusive energy signal which Bonge has picked up on his tricorder. So, you've been walking a little way. It's, it's nearly a kilometre from the, what I'll call the village to where what Bonge was picking up seemed to be in the vicinity of. As you're kind of making your way uphill a little bit, almost directly in your path, you start to see what could be the source of this signal. And that is not a huge sort of gaping like hole in the side of the mountain, but they're definitely, as you kind of crest over like a little sort of hillock on the uphill section, you see a cave opening on the side of the mountainside, it was a little bit hidden from view down in the village. Obviously, a little bit of distance between you and it. It's quite dusty in the atmosphere, so easily missable anyway. But like in terms of like lines of sight, you would have had trouble seeing it from down there. And it is a dark entrance.
Lovely.
Do our tricorders have flashlights, or do we carry flashlights?
I think you have torches on the side of your helmets.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm sure we've got like them on our helmets, and we've probably got one on our wrist as well.
Yeah.
Let's get the wrist one flicked on for me,
yeah.
And I'll aim it into the tunnel, so we've got a better view.
Are you doing that cool kind of like tactical arms crossed phaser out in front of you with the torch in the other hand? Kind of.
Oh yeah.
Okay, are you taking point then? Are you going in the cave, actually? I suppose I should have asked before.
Yeah, I'm just training this now.
I think we scan first.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I'd rather scan first, since we have the option.
Sure, yeah. Who wants to be doing that?
I can.
Sure. Okay, this will be a reason science check from you, and I need 14 or under, difficulty 2. Ooh, another 19 and an 18. So, yeah, that's your tricorder is having trouble. It's not responding, but it's not picking up anything in the gloom ahead of you.
Not very helpful.
No.
Can we see anything else more now that I've illuminated the darkness a bit?
Yeah, okay. It's a kind of narrow passageway. It's not like smooth-sided, it's not like it's not like a corridor in the side of the mountain or anything like that. It's definitely like, this is a cave sort of thing. It's kind of narrow, but not to the point where you're going to need to sort of squeeze to get through. You'll be able to walk in there. In fact, actually, probably a couple of you, side by side if you need to. It's not too narrow. But you can see that it heads in sort of, I want to say 20, 30 feet, and then curves round out of sight to the left.
Okay. Johnny's going to look around at the rest of them. Like, do we want to go in there?
Is there anything else, like, outside the entrance? Like any debris or disturbed stuff?
Good question. I think, can I get an insight security check from you? This is what we've kind of just landed on as our investigate stuff and look for stuff kind of check, isn't it? But,
whoa.
Okay.
Oh.
So 20 and a 4, so that is a complication. You got 1 success. I think the whole area is kind of covered in dirt. As this whole area has been, the dust has been blowing around and there's a lot of stuff kind of covered up. In general, I mean, like, the ground is a little bit of a layer of dust everywhere. I think you're kind of... You take a few, sort of 30 seconds to a minute to kind of look around and search. Nothing immediately kind of strikes your sort of visual sense. As you take a step, your foot knocks on something loose, which rolls away down the hill away from you.
Can I catch what it is, or?
It's a sphere of some sort. It is gaining speed and is at this point quite a distance away from you.
Murphy's going to shift her feet around the sand to see if there's anything else there.
Doesn't appear to be.
Well, that's not foreshadowing at all.
It felt like a metallic thing that you kind of knocked, and it's just started rolling, and it's gone. Well, not gone, but like it's, you accidentally kicked it down a sort of, it's a bit of a steep hill you've kind of climbed up here, and it was, you're on kind of, I suppose I just said the cave entrance, I suppose it could be said it's on kind of like a little bit of like a ledge, and as you've been searching around, not to the point where you were all going to fall, but you've kind of knocked it and it started picking up speed as soon as it sort of, that's your 20. In my defense, you rolled it. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
See, because you said it's metallic, now I'm really curious, and Murphy would be really curious about it. Because they haven't really... They had that little stone in the village, but there wasn't really any... Or at least we didn't really... I can't remember if we saw any evidence of, like, metalworking in the village.
You had seen what looked to be maybe the remnants of some kind of appliances in one of the buildings.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember if I said they were metallic in nature or not. They I think it could be said that maybe there was, but the buildings themselves didn't really seem to have they weren't like metal girders or anything like that in them.
Okay.
I mean, you can chase after it if you want. It's not it's not gone forever. It's just you've rolled it down the hill.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get it because. Yeah, it's just a strange little thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what's that?
Okay.
What's that?
All right. Well, it's gonna take you a few minutes to go get it, I think.
I'll be back in a second, guys. I knocked something. I don't know what it was.
Are you sure it's safe to go by yourself?
It's not far. Yeah, you can see. You'll see me walking back up the hill.
I guess. I'll just keep an eye on you. It's fine.
So the 4 members of Murphy's team kind of sit around the cave entranceway. I guess kind of like going between looking into the darkness and watching Murphy kind of awkwardly pick her way back down the hill chasing after a ball.
See that you put it like that, I'm like, oh no, this is a bad idea.
No, that's I don't want to diminish what's going on. So yeah, I think it takes you a couple of minutes, but this thing has kind of fetched up against a rock a short ways back down the hill, and a lot of the dust has kind of been sort of knocked off of it in its kind of tumbling roll as it goes. But what you find is a metal sphere, I guess about the size of a small, like, watermelon.
Oh, like a small honeydew lemon.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Smaller.
Yeah.
All right. So quite substantial.
Yeah. Perfect sphere. It's not too heavy. Sort of explains why you were able to accidentally kick it down the hill. You know, if it was heavy, it would have just
quite
stubbed your toe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it appears to be covered in quite fine engravings.
Ooh. Interesting. Murphy's going to be like looking at it and like moving it around to try and make sense. Not that she probably could make sense of it, but she's like trying to see if there's like any pattern or repeating pattern to it. As she's like walking up to the rest of the group. This is interesting. It's like a little puzzle sphere almost.
Curious. Weird patterns on that thing. Is it geometric shapes or language, or like what does it look like?
There's some thicker kind of geometric lines going around. It's not like fully divided, like here's an equator going all the way around and stuff like that. It's like the lines kind of go off at angles in different places and that. But a lot of the sort of smaller engravings do appear to be kind of similar to the text that was on the stone in the village. At least a similar alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, interesting.
That reminds me of those buildings back at the village. Some kind of artifact from that civilization, maybe?
Not sure. Not sure the purpose of it either. I doubt it's just a paperweight. Murphy's gonna like offer out for anyone to take to have a closer look at it or examine it. She's not she's just curious. She's curious about it, but until she has like a point of reference to work with, she doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Anyone's welcome to take a closer look.
Fell kind of peers at it, but it's not really my field. Cool though.
What do you think, Bonge? Does it look mechanical? Any kind of mechanism, do you think?
I could take a look.
Holds out his hand.
Murphy passes it over. Watch, it is quite weighty.
Yeah, you weren't kidding.
He rotates it in his hands a little bit, and he seems sort of working. It's just
These panels, it almost feels like these panels ought to move, but they're pretty solid. Doesn't feel like one lump. It's tough to say.
You think it maybe could open?
I don't know. Maybe it fits somewhere.
Or fit somewhere, yeah.
I don't know.
he offers it back to you.
Well, we'll take it with us anyway. I'm sure the cryptographers will have a field day trying to work out the symbols. She's going to pocket it away in her pack.
Sure. Faced again with the cave entranceway.
All right. Who wants to go first?
I'll take the lead. And Johnny steps forward once again, pointing the flashlight down the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and slow, Ensign.
Aye, sir. And he'll start gradually stepping forwards, cautiously down this into this cave entrance.
Okay. Are you being stealthy? Or are you just kind of steadily making your way? And
Just steadily making the way. Not like creeping Metal Gear style along the wall or anything like that.
Okay. About 30 feet in, it curves around to the left, sort of away from like the bit of visible light that's coming in from the outside. I mean, it's not like a 90-degree turn or anything, so it's not like you can, have to go up to the corner and peek round. Like it's a slight, it's a little bit of a gentle curve, but like as you kind of make your way around the bend, you can see that this more kind of obscured area does appear to be quite a straight passageway, while the open sort of entranceway very much was like, okay, this is just a cave. You're starting to pick up a little bit more kind of regularity in the shape of the passage. I think looking a little bit more like it was carved from the rock. as opposed to sort of the entranceway, which is, as I say, had a kind of natural cave feeling to it.
Unless there's something stopping us, then we'll just continue on down, I suppose.
Yeah, okay. So you carry on along the passageway. Probably, I want to say, a decent distance, probably another 70 to 80 feet. The daylight is very much kind of, you've left that behind at this point, but all of your helmet torches and everything is, lighting up the place. And at this point, you definitely notice that this appears to be a cut tunnel. The ground is flat, and you are in a circular tunnel at this point. It's it was subtle to begin with. It kind of sort of narrowed down as the further in you've gone. It's like, oh no, this is a tunnel now. This is not a cave. This has become a cut sort of designed.
It's like they found a natural line in the rock, and they've like it's a natural cave.
Yeah, and
exit.
It's been extended backwards artificially.
Yeah.
To this sort of regular corridor. So you're about 100 feet in, and the cave sort of passageway comes to what seems to be like an abrupt wall. You look around for details, you realise directly on your right, the wall of the corridor. On this last section, the wall, rather than being curved, sort of in like an arc, is fully flat vertically for about the last, I want to say 20 feet of it. And again, you see these carvings in the wall, reminiscent of those on the ball. I don't want to call it the ball, but the sphere.
Ooh.
Interesting. Did this tunnel belonged to that civilization, maybe? And Johnny's going to start scanning the wall while talking.
Can I just get a reason science check for me then, please? 15 and 10? Okay. So you got one success. You're sort of scanning this wall, like kind of as part of its regular functions. The tricorder is taking in kind of basic information about it, and it's confirming like this is carved into the rock. However, it does estimate that the rock wall is only about 30 centimeters thick. Probability of cavity beyond is what flashes up.
Johnny's going to reach forward and knock on the wall to get a feeling if it's hollow or if there's any sense. I mean, he's going to knock quite hard, given it's rock. Okay. To get any sense of like reverberation or anything like that.
It does feel a little hollow, I would say. It doesn't like give or anything. There's no movement or anything, but it feels the difference between knocking on a mountainside and knocking on this is something made of, it feels hollow. That's what I'm saying.
Johnny's going to look back over his shoulder at the rest of the group. I think there's another passage past this wall, but I don't really see any kind of mechanism apparently here. And he's going to kind of go back to looking at the wall.
There's no keyhole. There's no anything like that, and it is a rock wall. It's not a door.
So there's not like a recess, like a circular recess kind of thing for the ball to fit into.
Not that you can see.
That we can see. Okay.
Yeah, Johnny's going to look to the senior officers in this moment and just kind of shrug. Well, I can't see a way past.
I think we go back to the ship. We've got a copy of everything we've seen. Analyze it there.
Yeah, maybe we'll figure out how to open this door.
There has to be a way, and I don't think we're going to find it standing here in the tunnel.
No, I think we've had enough time down here this time around. It might be that we can figure it out and then come back and then open it, if it's something we can get into.
Bonge is double checking his tricorder as well at this point. So.
I'm still getting that reading. It's beyond this wall.
You sort of look over his shoulder, and he's got a sort of. It's what it's showing is like it's a very faint. What it's showing is like an energy signature.
Mm-hmm.
Not far beyond the wall, but definitely in that direction beyond the wall.
I reckon we let the good scientists do the rest of the work from here. And figure out what we've brought back. Alright?
Yes, sir.
Everyone ready to go back?
Fettel has been kind of at the back.
Oh, yes, good for me. Just excited to get back in my lab and get my hands on that sample.
Don't remind me, Phil.
I'm not trying to make her your enemy.
I think it's like more of like an annoying sibling kind of relationship kind of thing. Murphy's like the big older sister that's trying to keep everybody in line and stop them from like burning the kitchen down or something. Flooding the house. Letting all the animals loose.
Because I figured out everybody's ages, and I think there's like a 3-year age gap between you and Fel in that you're the older one. So maybe it's that close enough that like it's triggering like a kind of little sister kind of thing.
Oh, you're so annoying.
Yeah, kind of thing. Even you're the same rank, so there's not you can't like really order her around too much.
Maybe she could be because she got Lt Cmdr before Murphy did.
Oh yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah.
There's a little bit of rivalry.
Yeah, maybe it was pretty close as well. Maybe like it's within the last obviously Murphy got promoted at the start of the series. Maybe Fel was like bumped up like less than 6 months before or something. But like it's enough that it just kind of it bugged you at the time because you like when she got promoted you were like you'd been knocked back from your previous promotion and thing. Yeah, and it's just like it's like one of those little like you can't explain it, she just bugs you a little bit like.
Murphy to Tenzing.
Go ahead.
The away team and I have finished our preliminary survey. We're ready to come back to the ship now. How is our readings coming through? We're in a cave right now.
We're having trouble locking onto you, Commander. It must be something in the surrounding rock. Can you get into the clear?
Yep. We'll get out of the cave and let you know when we're outside.
So the crew makes their way out of the cave and into the open air and are shortly beamed back up to the ship. Yay!
Mission complete for us.
Okay. I think at this point I want to sort of jump forward maybe just a little bit in time, sort of now that we've got both teams back up on the ship. We don't have to do it moment by moment at this point. We can say you've all had time to get some refreshments and probably take a shower and get yourselves checked over for any... this would be sort of standard after a mission kind of protocols of like, okay, make sure you haven't brought any previously unnoticed wounds back that might need tending or anything like that. There's some decontamination stuff, especially as this is like a completely unvisited world and things. So a little bit of time has passed, not like a whole day or anything like that, but like a
couple of hours.
Yeah, you've gotten back and gotten comfy, you've had a meal, and I think the two teams have reconvened once again in the conference room with the captain, and I think Talyn is probably there as well because she wants to...
Oh yeah, Talyn's probably there because she's probably glaring at Murphy with her...
She'll probably want to talk to you privately at some point as well, but like I think...
Yeah, Murphy's not looking forward to that
I think she's here for this mission debrief as well. So yeah, a little bit of time has passed and the teams have reconvened in the main conference room for a debrief, and I think we can start kind of in progress, I suppose. The meeting has been going on for a few minutes, I think, and everybody's sort of settled down and that, and Collins is kind of, he was fully aware of what was going on, all the time. You're not bringing anything surprising to him, but I think this is the first kind of proper, like, okay, what do we do next, and like, what do we make of what we found kind of discussion that's been had since you've all come back. At least a formal one, I'm sure there was like some gossip of, and especially, Johnny and Bonge going, well, that was pretty messed up, wasn't it? And things like, informal kind of stuff. But this is the
rumors of the empty deck.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking at my what's on what decks thing here. I'm trying to find where
your deck is pretty big.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to find where the bio labs are. And I haven't marked them.
Maybe part of a deck then. Maybe not the full deck, but a good chunk of it.
Yeah, I mean the main science labs are on deck 6. So that whole floor is like there's crew lounges and crew quarters on there, but like it's mostly the main transport rooms are there, and then it's like a lot of science labs and Ray's office, basically.
Oh, so it's kind of a good place then, really,
Yeah.
if we want to get rid of it quickly.
I think we could probably almost like say that like part of the biolabs, like this isn't like we need to quickly put together a quarantine thing. I think the biolabs would have that kind of facility built in of like, okay, this needs to go into the secure containment area.
Yeah, especially if they're like picking up things from space or like minerals that they haven't found before, that they are like for contagions or anything.
Well, and on the bio side of things, like exactly that. Like you want to be able to study stuff without it getting on throughout the ship. So I think the biolabs would have like a secure area. So I think there's probably not even any need to like really seal off anything. It's just you maybe could like order a bit more security around the secure area to make sure it doesn't to really make sure it doesn't get anywhere. But
Murphy's also got it in her head that it's bit the captain. She doesn't want it bite and Ireela as well. So your mental like sort of like assessment of its danger is maybe higher than it would be if it was just like, hey, we found this worm. Fair enough. It's a bit more formidable than one thinks.
That's kind of sealed away. It's being, I think, successfully sedated, but kept in the secure science labs, the secure biolabs for like quarantine study and things like that. They've replicated within a force field like an approximation of the atmosphere down on the planet, so at least it can breathe and that. And they're just I think nothing has really started yet in the way of like major experimentation or investigation and stuff, but I think you can be like safely assume that it's probably not going anywhere right now, just to put your mind at ease. So at this point I think we'll sort of fade into the committee meeting then, as the captain says, all right, so moving on then to this life form that your team encountered, Commander Rai. This, what did you call it? Aqua arachnid? Is that right?
Yeah, that's the most fitting description I can give you, Captain. The scan I took before it ran away from the dig site only showed up that it had an armor coating of some description, whether that's bonded to the creature or separate entirely, but it was processed titanium, which matches up with some of the samples we took from the area, a lot of the same minerals. And as far as it jumping off into the ocean, by the time that happened, the thought was it's either running away because we scared it off, or it was running away to get reinforcements. Without much more to go on, I couldn't risk keeping the away team down there any longer, with minimal security measures.
Yes, prudent thinking, Commander. Better safe than sorry.
Thank you, sir. But they do seem to be, I suppose, at home in the water. When Baraka and I looked over the cliff face to see what happened to it, it swam away. It looked pretty at home in the water. More so there than it did when it was on land running away from us, I think. But that's just a guess on how it was moving and the pace it was going at. So, if there are more of them, our best guess at the moment is that they are aquatic in nature and they live below the surface, given how inhospitable the planet's surface is.
Fel kind of speaks up. Well, if they're living down in the remains of the ocean, it shouldn't be too tricky to find them, should it? Not a lot of water left down there.
Well, from what we saw with our own eyes, no. But there might be deeper trenches below the surface that we haven't discovered. At this point, if we were to investigate further, I'd recommend sending a probe down into the ocean and seeing what comes back.
You don't want to deep dive in there, Rai? That's unlike you.
Well, given we're dealing with possible water spiders, I think it'd be safer to scan it properly first before going for a deep dive. And not to mention, the implements that it had about its person didn't look particularly welcoming. I couldn't tell from looking at it with my own eyes if they were weapons or tools, but I wouldn't want to get caught in the grip of one of them. So at this point, I still recommend a probe to go down before we investigate that species any further, Captain.
Postpone the undersea adventure for now then, eh?
Sir, I'm going to recommend that you don't become Captain Nemo.
You just catch a quick glance that he shoots towards Commander Talin before he looks back at you. Yes, I'll take that under advisement, Commander.
Dr. Ireela is trying very hard to not snicker.
Murphy's just gonna sagely nod her head. I think that's the wisest. That's a wise decision, sir.
Talin is kind of giving you a look, Murphy, of like, good.
She's like,
she doesn't say it, but she's kind of like the look of like, okay, some common sense still in place.
Murphy's gonna like not protest, but like plead with her like that she tried to say no to the captain, but she couldn't exactly say no. Even with the doctor there, she can't exactly say that he's not fit to be captain and like medically relieve him. She's like, the doc was even there. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I think the captain is allowed to go on missions if he wants to. It's just like it's kind of Talin's job to make sure that like part of her thing is like the captain remains safe and in command.
And not dead.
Yeah. So I think she was probably like, she would have been fine with it if the captain hadn't been hurt. Like, she maybe would have, it's the usual thing of like, she might have had a grumble about like, why we didn't know what was going to be down there, but you came back safe. Instead, it was like, she's maybe not vocalizing all of this because she's a Vulcan and she's kind of keeping most of it to herself.
It's all through the eyebrows. It's all through the
there's a lot of
eyebrows.
Very complicated eyebrow work going on here.
And Murphy's still working out some of it. Like, she's not sure what some of the looks are, and every now and again she'll just glance at Ray. She's like, what's that look? What does that one mean?
I think it's safe to say that, like, I think maybe Talin doesn't blame you.
No,
she's just, but at the same time, like you said, she also is kind of, she's not like thinking like there was a dereliction of duty on the behalf of the security department, but also at the same time, a little bit of like, well, the head of security was there. Why did the captain get hurt?
I think part of it as well, it's the first time Murphy's ever had him on a mission with her, I think.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
Yeah. Where she's secure, like commander of security, so she's like, all that. She's like, my predecessor had experience with him on missions. I don't. This is gonna be great.
Yeah, so it's sort of like a first test kind of thing.
She's like, I failed so badly.
Yeah.
Ireela got hurt.
Or Murphy just reacts really, really easily to the raised eyebrow.
Yeah.
The eyebrow means nothing. No, the eyebrow actually means nothing, and it just, there's a lot of reading into it that's going on this ship. People are just like, I think she means this. Like,
they gotta have their gossip somehow.
Yeah. Okay. So the captain has been sufficiently persuaded not to go on any undersea submarine adventures, I guess.
Well, if it turns out there are also sea worms, that will prove to be the right call.
Yeah. I'm also trying to avoid another Ocean Gate with the captain.
It's fine. I was about to say there's no billionaires on board, but we don't know really what the state of Bonge's finances are.
God.
Collins is not going to become Captain Nemo.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll stick to the probes for now then. Let's get a clearer picture of what's down there before we go sticking our noses where we're not welcome. I know we got a little bit more leeway with the Prime Directive on this expedition, but that doesn't give us license to ignore it completely. If we can make some observations without being detected, then that would be preferable, until we know what's going on down there.
Well, we need to identify if there's a civilization that could be harmed by contact.
We'll have to follow the first contact procedure, I'd imagine, sir.
There clearly used to be a civilization. An advanced civilization, but pre-warp, given what we found between the village and the potential entrance underground, that tunnel.
Is it possible that the aquarachnids originally lived on the surface and now live underwater?
Well, the deposits very much look like there was a lot more water in the past.
So dropping sea levels.
Dropping sea levels does tend to affect the entire ecosystem in all locations. Perhaps apart from the very bottom of the oceans.
So potentially, these creatures, while they may have lived up here when when the water covered the surface, they now live in the deeper parts of the oceanic trenches, and they're perfectly happy with the pressures down there.
It's quite possible. But the houses that we found don't appear. Certainly, it looks like they were there. They started sometime after the sea levels went down, or are they really high up?
It's not fully guesswork here as to like what the sea levels would have been like prior to the planet's magnetosphere starting to be stripped away and they started boiling off. You've got a pretty good idea of what they would be like, and the area where the village would have been inland when the seas were at their height.
Okay, so that doesn't really help us one way or another.
No, although maybe to rule out some stuff.
Mm-hmm. None of the decoration we found was figurative, was it? It was all geometric.
Yeah, it was all sort of. I mean, there was the writing which you can't read, and that they were kind of geometric lines on the ball and on the wall.
Yep.
I didn't mean to have this be a rhyming mystery when I started.
All I can think of is Balls to the Wall, the song.
Or by Accept.
Yeah.
But yes, they were kind of geometric shapes and writing.
Okay. So presumably, because we have access to databases of language and essentially like codes and writing systems and stuff, how easy or difficult would it be to feed all of that into the computer and see if it can start finding patterns or potentially translating?
It's definitely something you can start doing. I think you haven't maybe got like a full Rosetta Stone worth of examples of different words and things, but between like the stone tablet and the ball and the scans taken of the wall, which was sort of similar kind of carvings, but I think you could start to put together patterns and begin the process. This wouldn't be like an instant like thing, but like the more examples you could maybe come across, whether that means like on another find out what's behind the wall or whatever, there might be more stuff there. That sounds really leading. I don't mean that to sound so leading, but you know what I mean. You've got the beginning. There's definitely a process you can start, and the computer, I think, has enough examples of languages from across the entire galaxy that it's like, okay, this is a thing that like is only getting easier the further into time we go. You know what I mean? With more examples, and like at this point, like 300 odd years on from where we are now, you've got so many more examples that the computer can pull on than we do here in like 2024.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, this is definitely a process you can start at the very least. Like the computer can start to like pitch some like, it might be this kind of pattern or it might be this kind of pattern. It's sort of, you definitely got enough for a starting point is what I'm saying.
I'd imagine that's probably started as well. Once we've came back to the ship, we've probably handed that off to the researchers and they've started that process. This
isn't a check that I'm going to have you guys do. I don't think this one. They're going to be like,
it's like in process.
Yeah.
the computer is calculating.
Yeah, if this was like a sort of, I don't know what to say, like if this was like an XCOM game, it would be like, okay, through doing this you have acquired the things necessary to unlock the research the language project, and it's going to take this number of
yeah
not necessarily that, but you know what I mean. It's sort of like, you've come back on board, you've taken a lot of useful data, and there's smart people on board plus the ship's computer and that who is like, this is their specialty, and it's like, okay, we will hand this off to the linguists and stuff and let them work on it, kind of thing. And it might be a short process, it might take them a while. This is a world that has not been able to be, have any contact with the outside of the cluster for a long time. So that's a long time to sort of not have any common sort of ground, but like, you know, it's a written language, and you have some examples of it. So yeah, there's a couple of like moving forward things to like look at then, isn't there? So probing the depths, I guess, would be to point number 1, figuring out what's up underwater. Point number 2 would be figuring out the ball language and maybe thinking about trying to investigate the wall more. I don't know. That's up to you guys. Sort of how you want to proceed with that, I guess. But yeah, that would be my takeaway from the discussion we've just had. Anyway, basically, of like.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
You could probe while we're working on the language stuff and waiting for the readings to come back. We can focus on one of the others.
Yeah. Collins then, I think, puts his data pad on the table at this point and leans forward. Okay, a couple of lines of investigation to look into going forward then. No reason we can't look at all of them. Commander Rai, I want you to continue to spearhead the operations at the dig site and take point on finding out whatever's going on down in that ocean remnant. See what the deal is with these aquarachnids, as you call them. Be discreet, though. We don't want to stir anything up.
Aye, sir.
And likewise, Murphy, if you want to continue heading up the operations based out of the other site, that would be best, I think.
Sir?
All right. Well, as far as first away missions go on an expedition, I think this wasn't half bad. Got some interesting things to look at going forward, and there's definitely more to find out here. Good work today, everybody. I look forward to reading your full reports once you've had time to write them up. And I'm sure they'll make interesting reading for the folks back at Starfleet Command as well. Okay, well, thank you, everybody, and yeah, back to it. He stands up, and the meeting sort of begins to break up. You all sort of rise from your chairs and that. Commander T'Lyn remains in her seat as people start making for the door. Lieutenant Commander Murphy, if you would remain behind, I wish to discuss some security considerations going forward.
Murphy's half turned in her seat with her gaze towards Ray, and all Ray can see is this "save me" look that she is just like pleading out of her eyes before she just like slowly nods and then turns and sits back down again. Commander?
So I think the last thing you see before people have filed out and the door closes is Captain Collins giving you a good luck kind of look.
She's just gonna shoot him a look. She's like, "I am going to end you," but like in a like
Sir.
a choke. Yeah, it's like I'm gonna end you, sir.
As Ray stands up to walk out, he just says quietly, "You're on your own, kid. You're in the hands of the gods now."
Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time on Thursday, December the 5th, with the next chapter of Frontier, and we hope you'll all join us for that. In the meantime, you can head to pretendingwithdice.com for links to all of our online presences, including our social media pages, Discord server, Ko-Fi page, merch store, and much, much more. So yeah, for now, that's our show. We hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.